Greetings and salutations. We're back with some more Diablo 2 One Talent Challenge. I was debating whether or not I wanted to do Pokemon or this. Also, I've got an idea to do some Pokemon Nuzlocke and Pokemon Diamond. Not the old Diamond, the new one that people don't like. Which I never really understood why they don't like it. It's not that bad of a game, realistically speaking. Like it's just a remake. That's all it is. But speaking of Pokemon and remakes, no doubt everybody has already heard of the leaks that have existed in Pokemon. The leaks that came out. Now, I didn't pay much attention to it, but what I did read that kind of piqued my interest, and there's a reason why I'm resummoning everything. Because when you get the skill shrine, it gives you +2 to skills, and then that gives all of your wolves more health and all of your ravens more damage. But for what I did read, that was leaked, was that Game Freak and Ilka are working on a project together. Now, Ilka was the one that was responsible for um, the Diamond and Pearl remakes, and they weren't well received. Which begs the question, if it's true, if the leaks are true, and Ilka is working with Game Freak again, let me turn up the audio on Diablo here. Um, if they are indeed working with, like, Ilka one more time, actually, I should probably turn that up even more. It raises a lot of questions, because if Ilka wasn't well liked on the Diamond and Pearl remakes, then like what's gonna happen then? You know? Let me turn up the audio in here instead. There we go. Better. That way it's more balanced in my EQ on the right and balanced on the left in the game. So I mean, it raises a question because, like I was saying, if Ilka's not well liked because of that, because of them basically dropping the ball on Diamond and Pearl, why would Game Freak reach out to make another one? Now, that's not to say that Game Freak doesn't have other irons in the fire, because Game Freak makes a game called Uma Musume, which literally translates to horse daughter. And that's about having a daughter that's a centaur and is into horse racing, I believe. My brother plays it because he likes the horse racing simulator thing that they had in Japan. Because they do a lot of horse racing, like digital horse racing over there. They got like punch cards, not really punch cards, but they're data cards. You could actually, raise a horse and have pedigree on the horse, and then race them against other people. And so they have them on these little cards. So that it's a game over in Japan. And this is kind of like Uma Musume is just kind of like a part of that. So Game Freak's got that, but yet they were saying that this possible project with Ilka is akin to at least what I read, was akin to, say, like a Splatoon. A Splatoon game. I thought to myself, why on earth would you need a Splatoon-esque game? I mean, Splatoon's obviously popular. There's no argument there. But, like, I mean, why would Game Freak go that route? Seems a little weird to me, right? I mean, yeah, they've got other things that they do, and for a crew of like 110 people or so, it's kind of impressive of what they're building. But they have Pokemon Unite, which is not really Game Freak. That's Timmy or Tencent. And then, at least I think that's Timmy and Tencent. I could be wrong. But it just seems odd. And then, of course, other things were leaked at the same time, but I didn't pay much attention to that. it started making me ask a bigger question, though. Like, it was clearly an internal leak. It wasn't like it was a data breach externally, and then the guy or whoever leaked it to be malicious against Nintendo. But, or not, I can't even say Nintendo, but malicious against Game Freak. So it doesn't come across like it was that. So to me, it sounds like it was an employee that leaked it internally. At least, that's how I view it. I could be wrong, but that's the thing that makes the most sense. You know, shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. That being said, I have many questions. Many, numerous questions. Aside from what direction they're headed in, what if the leak is correct and the game that comes out is like Splatoon and it has cutesy little Pokemon-esque characters? Is this going to be able to be a suit filed against Game Freak by Pal World? As we all know, the whole Pal World lawsuit's creeping forward. It just seems a little weird that something seems very off about it, right? Here you have Game Freak, who never had crucial critical leaks in large quantities, all of a sudden is tied up in a lawsuit with Pal World, and then, oddly enough, has a crucial critical leak. It really starts to make me think some questions here. I'm not one of those people to say that Nintendo's too big to fail, because they're not. And I'm not going to sit there and constantly defend a, multi-billion-dollar company. I mean, they make mistakes, sure. And they've made plenty in the past. Their overly headstrong, litigious ways is one of the mistakes they've made in the past. It just, I don't know. It seems weird to me. There's a lot of questions on that whole thing. But Nintendo acted very quick and took it all down. So that's different. Generally, they would run out like damage control and be like, "Oh no, that wasn't a leak. What are you talking about? We don't know what you're mentioning." Nah, not a chance. And then all of a sudden they'd come out and then admit it, that there was a leak. I don't know. Seems a little sketchy. Well, I'm running out of room. Which means I have to consolidate some gems. As many as I can, actually. But no, I'm looking forward to that whole Nuzlocke of Pokemon Diamond. I tried a Nuzlocke before, and it was on stream, and it did not go well. Mostly because I died. And I'll end up posting the rules in the Nuzlocke in the description when I go to make that video, if I indeed follow through with it. Part of me wants to, and a part of me doesn't. I guess mostly because I sit there and I look at it and it's like, yeah, that wouldn't be bad to do a Nuzlocke. It's always something that's usually well received. And then at the same time, there's the other side of the coin where it's like, if you do a Nuzlocke and you don't do it, I had to do that. If you do a Nuzlocke and you don't do it to the specifications of, say, the general Nuzlocke community, they tend to get a little upset. Like, they say, oh, that's not a real Nuzlocke. Have him drawn and quartered, etc. Treat you like the Spanish Inquisition if you do it wrong. And it's been that way for a long time. Like, for a long, long time. Step a little bit. It's not that it's too high on the audio. It's just that it's too high in my ear, and so it's throwing off how I'm thinking. Because I could hear the audio, and it's not really messing up the way I want to phrase things, but it's disrupting the train of thought, so to speak. But the Nuzlocke community, in general, is kind of, how do I want to put this? Oh, Spider Cavern, not the Arachnid Layer. Okay, I'm in the wrong one. Um, the Nuzlocke community is a lot like the Smogon community. They get rather, I don't want to say irate, but just kind of like mildly salty that if you don't do it exactly right or exactly to the way you want them to do it, it's like, well, that wasn't a real Nuzlocke then. Or that's not real competitive Pokemon because, Smogon said so. Well, Smogon's ruled by a council of people that don't want to have counterplay, so let's just go with that. Almost like the Commander format in Magic. For those of you that don't play Magic the Gathering, the Commander format in Magic, I believe, was set up by a whole bunch of people who were single card dealers, and they wanted to push sales of single cards, so they invented the Commander format, which drove up the prices of single cards. Draw your own conclusions. Who stands to gain when you invent a format that pushes single card sales? Perhaps single card dealers would, gain. It's a little weird. And the Rules Council was not formed by, Hasbro or Wizards of the Coast, but basically Hasbro. It was formed by players. Well, the players could be anybody, including store owners, thus lending credence to the whole thing. However, Hasbro's now stepped in and invented their own rule set for Commander, and so most assuredly the format will die. Because Hasbro's Hasbro. I mean, just look at how much they're over-monetizing Magic the Gathering. Just take a look at it. It's disgusting. I mean, Hearthstone rolls out 4 expansions a year, and that's still egregious. And then Hasbro's just like, 12 expansions in a year? Everyone's got that kind of money. No, they don't. But, good old Hasbro. Nothing stops them for reaching into your pockets and trying to squeeze blood from a turnip. And it's true. I mean, like, they're just as bad as, like, Hasbro's gotten very bad about their, like, we're going to completely monetize things and over-monetize things and then bring out multiple, editions and all this other stuff. It's like, yeah, if you collect some of the cards and you can turn around and sell them, cool. Like, for example, I have an app on my phone, which you can barely see my phone because of my background removal from NVIDIA, which I'm not sponsored, but NVIDIA Broadcast, if you ever want to have the background removed and you want to get rid of all the echoes and other crap behind you. Nevertheless, on my phone I have an app called Delver Lens, which gives me the median market price for cards when I scan them in. And Dockside Extortionist is one of the cards that was brought out in Double Masters, and it was widely used in Commander play. And so the price of it was about $93 a card. And I have 3 copies of Dockside. One is a full panel Dockside, and it dropped by $30-something within the last day and a half. And that's just what happens. Like, because they said, oh, no, we're going to ban Dockside Extortionist from Commander play because it made certain Commander decks too powerful, and not everyone could have that card. Okay. So, once you've banned that from Commander play, there went the price. You basically just cut the price in half. The only people that want it now are the people that are buying it for standard. And, I mean, Dockside Extortionist is a decent card in standard. And, I mean, even the full panel one is now $74 instead of, like, used to be $105. It's just the way that, I guess, the market goes, but it's like once you start doing that and you start making arbitrary rules and banning arbitrary things, it ruins it to such a degree that, you know, the people that have the card are like, well, now what do I do? You know? It used to be worth something, and now I can't even offload the thing. And that happens a lot. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that'll get a card, and they're happy they got it. Like, I got Imperial Seal. I got the full panel Imperial Seal. Not foil, but the full panel one is a $104 card. The day I got it, it was like a $238 card. But that's because very few cards actually were out at that time. The price will go back up because the longer it goes out of print, the more it's going to be worth. So it's technically an investment. But I mean, just Hasbro's just getting to the point where they're like, oh yes, well we're gonna monetize Toy Story. Quite literally, they got an expansion coming out that's like loosely based off of Toy Story, and the characters in it. And it's like, okay, Hasbro, you can stop now. You've gone a little too far. It's like, we thank you for the contributions to our youth when we were playing board games by Hasbro and playing with Play-Doh by Hasbro, but those days are done now. You can stop any time now. And every single thing that exists needs to be monetized. I mean, just for example, take a look at this. Take a look at the last year in Magic the Gathering alone. Look at what they've done. They've monetized Doctor Who, Lord of the Rings. They're short. I mean, they're probably gonna try to end. Let's see, Doctor Who, Lord of the Rings. There's like 3 or 4 more, and I can't even think of them all right now. And they're like little, oh, this is a special edition, and we're only going to make this run once. Artificial scarcity to drive up cost. Dungeons and Dragons was another one. Warhammer was another one. And it's like, see what I mean? Like, yes, they're all intellectual properties you own, Hasbro, but that doesn't mean it has to bleed over into Magic the Gathering. I personally believe that Magic the Gathering's headed toward its twilight years, to be honest with you. And the reason I think it's headed towards twilight years is I think they're running out of things to make. I mean, if you think about it, they've had every single fantasy creature you can think of in the game already. They've had centaur and orcs and squirrels and dwarves and elves and dragons and cephalopods and assassins and ninjas and rebels and humans, and I mean they've literally done everything. Undead, cleric, goblin, zombies, vampires, angels, demons. I mean, they've literally marketed every single mythical creature, short of unicorn, which I'm pretty sure they'll put in, or if they are, they probably already have it and I just haven't seen it. So it's getting to be one of those things that I look at it and it's like, yeah, it's fun to play casual games every now and again with, friends and family. I think they've lost it though. I think they're pushing it too hard. Of course, you have those people out there that are like, oh, you're just one of those old fuddy-duddies that wants the old days of Magic back. Yes. They need to have... They need to suffer what is called negative power creep. So what they need to do is they needed to have an expansion in Magic where the power creep of the cards goes away. Only then can they really get back to what made them, you know, really successful in the first place. Because if you think about it, right? Like, you're spending... It's no different than Hearthstone with Magic and, you know, other cards and other card games that they like. You're spending... Let's say I'm going to spend 4 mana on a 4/4. Vanilla. It's a vanilla card. It's, you know, stats for the cost. 4 mana, 4/4. Now, if I'm going to pay 3 mana for a 4/4, there better be a caveat that makes it balanced. If I'm gonna play a card that's 3 mana for, like, say a 5/6, there's got to be something that offsets it, right? So that can be said for any card that exists. But let's say I'm gonna pay 6 mana for a 3/3. If I'm paying 6 mana for a 3/3, that better be a card that searches for something, retrieves, you know, something from the graveyard. Has an ability that allows me to gain life or prevents the enemy from gaining life. Something. It has to have a caveat to make it worth its cost, right? I mean, Covert Go Blue says it a lot, and I do watch him from time to time. And it's like, they just need to go back to printing a card that just has color text on it, and that's it. So, like, you get your card, and it's just got the color text on it, and nothing else. And you're done. They won't do that. They won't go back to printing like a 5/5 for 5 that does nothing but have color text. For example, Trained Org, right? Trained Org was a 7th edition red ogre card that was a 6/6 for 6 mana, 1 red, 5 other, right? And it was a rare, and all it was a 6/6 body with color text. And that was it. Was it widely used? No. No, it wasn't, because you wouldn't... On turn 6, you'd rather be playing something else that would put you in a greater advantage on the board. That's just the truth. I mean, and now you take a look at it, and there was what was the card I played the other day? I think it was called Sunstrike Legion. Hold on, I'll have to look it up. Matter of fact, I'll do that right now. I'll bring it up. I'm pretty sure it was Sunstrike Legion. Nope, not Sunstrike Legionnaire. It was something. It was out of Double Masters. That much I do know. There's 1 red, 1 white, and like it was insane. Not all those. Let me go down and find it. It's in the multicolored. It won't take me but 2 seconds. Because I'm already going through the green. There's the multicolored. Let's see here. 1 red, 1 white. It was called... Oh, there's a lot of multicolor in here. I didn't think there was going to be this many. As soon as I can find it. Wow, there is a lot of multicolored. There's tons of it. Was it Sunstrike Legion? Prized Sidranx's Scepter. 10th District Legionnaire. I knew it was Legion something. 10th District Legionnaire is a 2/2 haste whenever you cast a spell that targets it. Put a 1/1 counter on it and then scry 1. That's a little absurd for just 2 mana, 1 red, 1 white. I mean, comparatively to like Trained Org, 6 mana for a 6/6 do nothing. has no abilities, or a 2-mana 2/2 haste gets 1/1 counters and scry. I don't know about you, but I think the power creep's gone a little bit too high. I mean, with just 2 spells, it's a 4/4 or a 5/5 in no time. Oh yeah, I forgot that I had boots that burn. I forgot that I could give people the hot foot. What was it called? Demon Spur? Inferno Stride. Inferno Stride. Totally forgot. But no, it's like that's what I'm saying about like the power creep, and so they need to have a negative power creep that pushes the power of the game back down. Obviously, you can't go too far with it because then you're gonna ruin it. But they just need to taper the power back down and make a weak expansion just once or twice. Nothing, don't. Because this is just downright insanity anymore. I mean, that, and then you take a look at the Magic the Gathering errata. Crazy. I mean, you have to read a novel just to understand it. Which is kind of interesting because if you played ages ago, like I started playing right around Invasion, Plane Shift, Invasion, around there, Cold Snap, older stuff. And when you're playing around that time, there are keywords that most people don't quite understand, like flanking, banding, and it was very confusing back in the day, and it still is confusing today. And it's like no different than crewing a vehicle. When you crew a vehicle in Magic nowadays, it's like if I Doomblade the vehicle, does the pilot fall out of the vehicle? I mean, I know that the vehicles are artifacts, so you might not be able to Doomblade it, but you get what I'm saying. So if I say use Terminate, because Terminate can actually kill, just destroy target creature. So let's say I use Terminate, and I terminate the vehicle. Does the pilot fall out of the vehicle? Yeah, probably. But let's say everybody's banded together as one warband, and I terminate the leader. Does the entire warband die? So banding was like crew before crew became crew. See what I mean? I don't know. I kind of got off on a tangent there about Magic the Gathering, and I probably shouldn't have. Not because it's a bad tangent to get off on, but it's Magic the Gathering. It's not really applicable for what's going on right now. And I mean, I did segue there from Pokemon and other strategy sort of things. Um, oh yeah, a couple other things I wanted to tell you. I have the But Will It Hipfire coming up. So, But Will It Snipe is almost over. I have one more But Will It Snipe video I have not made yet, and it's with the last pistol. And then after that, I'm going to be doing But Will It Hipfire. Of course, with Black Ops 6 being around the corner, you're gonna probably see some But Will It Snipe Black Ops 6 editions, and I'm gonna have to find a way to do, new, title cards and everything. Pardon me. I need some coffee. I've only had like 1 cup today. It hasn't really been that long of a day. It's just kind of cold. It's kind of cold outside. Got cider though. Hey, I got fresh apple cider. So, mm, I was excited for it. Yes, that was a pun on purpose. You'll get used to those. It's kind of like a plague. One person starts telling puns, and then other people pick up on them. And then when the other people pick up on puns, they start telling puns. They can't help it. Their mind starts seeing puns wherever they are, and then it just kind of goes and it just goes out of control from there. But with it being slightly cold today, and I, of course, walked in some precipitation. It wasn't even a rain. It was more of a mist. You know what I mean? You've seen those days, right, where you walk outside and it just looks like you're walking through a fog, like cloud of fog or whatever. It's kind of one of those days, and so I went and I got all I wanted to. But it's been a long day. It was a long weekend. Who am I kidding? And then with me looking forward to things coming out and oh yeah, right, I don't need that. What am I carrying it around for? Like I'm looking forward to things that are coming out or around the corner. Like right now, so far, the only thing I'm really looking forward to is Black Ops 6. But I'm excited for the next Pokemon the next Pokemon game. Not I mean, I can't really say Legends ZA, because to me that's not a Pokemon game. I know, hot topic. It's not, because it's a side adventure, according to me. But no, I'm just really looking forward to a lot of stuff that's coming out. You know, mostly what's just coming out in the near future. And then hopefully I'm not going to run out of content anytime soon. Which is why I'm sitting here trying to come up with ideas for content and going down through the list of things I have and trying to, I guess, come up with a floor plan as to how best to create and present it. You know what I mean? It's a little bit tough to do that. It's a lot tougher than you think. I mean, normally it's just, pick a game and go, haha. But it's like, there's a lot of games that I've played and I could play again. Easily could pick up and play again. There's a lot of games I've played that I didn't really get completely into and thought, I'll put it on a back burner, I might stream it one day, but that was back before my streams just kind of went sideways. And so now I just kind of sit there and I go, okay, I can make a video out of this, or I can make a video out of that. And this is going really well. Like, the whole Diablo series is really well. It's going really well. And get too many sapphires. But also but Will It Snipe is a lot of fun. Like, if I had to weigh it based on fun factor, but Will It Snipe is like head and shoulders above the rest, because I love being able to sit there and snipe people with pistols, and you just know they're getting salty, so you just kind of sit there with a smile on your face like, that person is upset because of what happened, and you know it. But it's like, it's harmless fun. Yes, it's upsetting the opponent, but it's harmless fun. And I also like the Regulation H battles. I mean, I love doing it. And somebody gave me a great idea, which I may do. My next video after this one may be some Pokemon Regulation H, and I might also do some more Pokemon Unite, because I enjoy that as well. Sometimes Pokemon Unite gets me a little salty, sometimes, especially when it's, people not doing what they're doing, or people not paying attention to specific areas where they should be paying attention to in MOBAs. Like, you gotta watch. You gotta watch the lanes. You gotta watch what you're doing. You also have to watch a lot of areas. You have to be very aware of what you're doing. But if I had to rank the fun factor, it's but will it snipe? Pokemon battles, Diablo 2, right along. Those are tied for second. The Diablo 2 Hardcore One Talent Challenge, and then Pokemon Unite is down from there. I don't mind playing Hearthstone, but I just don't think that there's a place for it on YouTube because I think so many people do it, and I think so many people do it better. So it's kind of like know your place, know your role, stay in your own lane kind of thing. And it's the same way with like Magic the Gathering. I know that a lot of people know it and a lot of people do it better. And so, it's like why set foot in God's territory? You know what I mean? It's like that phrase in Bleach. It's like, there was a phrase that was in Bleach. It was, it's like you're setting foot in God's territory. They were mentioning it about Orihime. But anyhow, same premise. Like, why try to break into a market that's already been capitalized by other people? I could have a new interesting, idea or a new interesting look at it or a new perspective. But it's rare. I'm waiting for them to add the Ogre tribe. They still haven't. Of course, with the next expansion coming out, The Dark Beyond, they're adding Draenei and starships. Which means it's time to make a free-to-play account named Elon Musk and start making starships. I wonder how applicable the starships are going to be or how impactful. There's a lot of cards out there, not to get off on another tangent, but there's a lot of cards out there that could use adjustment in my estimation. Rye-Cleaver is one of them. Rye-Cleaver should read Battle Cry, get a slice of bread, and move it to the far left in your hand. And then Death Rattle, get a second slice of bread, and sandwich the minions in between it. Just because there's... the chances of somebody getting the minions they need and the minions they want in their hand at the right time are just so minuscule. It's insane. For example, like, if I was to use Rye-Cleaver and put it on a hunter and go with, like, Ranger Gilly, right? I would have to play the Rye-Cleaver, Ranger Gilly, so on and so forth, that kind of thing. But I'd have to have the first slice of bread, then I'd have to have Ranger Gilly generate crocs in the middle of it, have a way to buff the crocs so that they're not worthless, and then use the Rye-Cleaver again to generate the sandwich to then play it. It's just not applicable. It's sad. I think Ranger Gilly needs to be a cheaper card, and I think it needs to make a Crocolisk on the board at the end of every turn. And then when it dies, buff all Crocolisks by +2/+3. That's what I think it should do. Because then Ranger Gilly would actually be seen as a threat on board. Because they wouldn't want to leave it up there. Wait a minute, I just thought of an idea. trying to think, what other cards are there? So one would only work the one time. The other one, and then people, of course, would try to kill it. So if you made it elusive, I might have to make a Hearthstone video trying to do it. I came up with the idea of like a cube hunter, because you have the cubicle, right? And the cube makes it so that it consumes somebody, which would proc Ranger Gilly's death rattle. But at the end of your turn, it produces a copy of whatever it's consumed. So theoretically, you're going to get +4, +6 worth of stats unless they kill the cube. But if they don't kill the cube, you're looking at +4, +6 worth of stats on top of the cube producing new, or +2, +3. No, +4, +6, because they'd have to either silence it or remove it. But then you'd still have Ranger Gilly being produced if they don't remove it. So you're talking, you might get +2, +3 out of 2 Ranger Gillies. But then you'd have to, have more than just 2. Ambuff Ranger Gilly. Not a bad idea. I might do that, though. I already have a control shaman. And I thought if I add Turbulus, I could add Death Roll and Chatty Macaw, which adds even more control. Like, I might do that. Seems like an interesting play. What do I need? I need the brain out of the Flayer dungeon. So I need to go find the Flayer dungeon. And here I am just fiddle farting around over here in the Great Marsh, which does me no good. Oh yeah, hold on. Can I get a big map here? Let me see if I can change that. No, wait, I know. I can move the map with my arrow keys. Alright. It's either down here, which I don't think it is. I don't think it's down there. I think it's up here. I think it's up and out that way. Because there's the Great Marsh waypoint. And there's the Spider Cavern. I think it's up here. I was going to figure it out eventually. But no, I've got this idea. Like, this is what happens. I start on something, and then my mind just free flows. And when that happens, that's when the fun begins. Because my mind comes up with all these ideas. And when my mind comes up with ideas, I usually like to capitalize off them. Uh-huh. See? Flayer Jungle. I knew I was going to find it. Oddly enough, the things that give the most experience outside of the Travancore Council is actually the bugs in Lower Kurast. Lower, middle, and upper Kurast. They give tons of EXP. I was gonna say the unique winged nightmare died and I didn't get anything out of it. No shock there. But no, like... So I don't ruin my Highlander control deck. I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna make it again. Because I've got this idea. And I'll give it a few games and I'll play it. Now, it might not be a big on the thing. I know that I just said I wasn't going to make Hearthstone content. I'll probably do it off stream. Or off stream, listen to me, off video. I also might do the last but will it snipe next, because I've been really itching to get back into that. I gotta get the Gidbin, and I gotta get the waypoint at the very least. Ooh, Aura enchanted. Yes. Please get that dire hit. Aww. Hit my wolves more often. I know it sounds wrong to say that, but if you think about it, with my Thorns aura, if they hit my wolves more often, they die quicker. It's a big brain strat. Whoa. I know that I could tell that a portion of the viewers tune into this because it's nostalgia, right? And I could tell a portion of the viewers tune into this because they want to watch my druid just keel over dead. I get it.
Yes.
I'm with you on that. I would tune into that too, to see if somebody survives. I'd be like, does he bite the biscuit? Let's find out. I mean, that right there is the whole reason to tune into something like that. But I'm getting to the point where I have to call this video done. I'm going to consolidate more gems, though. I don't know, it's getting to the point, like, I mean, I like doing this. I love the idea. I love the premise. And I've yet to come across something that's even remotely dangerous, aside from Bale. Just we had that one moment with Bale. That's even remotely dangerous. I'm gonna go until I find the Gidbin. It'll probably be a 1-hour video, but I'm gonna go until I find the Gidbin. Don't get in there. Gidbin? Whoa. Ooh. See, this is why ravens are awesome. Just fly over and just kill the enemies on the other side. Now, if I do manage, I will say this right now, if I do manage to make it all the way through Hell difficulty on this challenge, I will continue to play him and see how high of a level I can get him. Oh, I'm in a bad zone. I'm in a bad area. But yes, if I get all the way through Hell difficulty, I will continue to play him, and I'll see what level I can get him to. Mostly because that's the right thing to do. Ooh, a jewel. Ow. Now, see, the weird part about thorns is thorns for a paladin works great, right? Thorns aura for a paladin works great. Thorns on an iron golem seems to be absolute booty cheeks. For some reason, thorns on an iron golem is just bleh. And thorns the curse is just as bad. So it's like, why was it that paladins were given the best possible iteration of thorns, and everybody else was just kind of left to their own devices? Ah, yes, he leveled. That means I can put that other chest piece on him. The nightmare level barbarians, though, up on Mount Ariat might give me a problem. So might the hell level barbarians. Who knows? We'll see. We'll get there eventually. Come on, Gidbin, where are you? I'm gonna go back, and I'm gonna get that guy his other chest piece out of the bank. Stash, I should say.
I'll put that to good use.
And I'm gonna sell the stealth plate. I shouldn't, but I'm gonna. Because why not? I think it's lived out its usefulness. I don't have an Omn rune. I need an Omn rune to get the Tirtal Omn again. To upgrade it from a hunter's bow to a cedar bow. Not that it's going to do anything different. I might get a higher level aura, but that'd be about it. I might get a lower level aura, too. What was that? Stupid composite bow. Oh. I'll tell you, one of these times, I'm going to be able to get a vacation to Japan. And I'm learning Japanese, by the way. If that wasn't blatantly clear by me knowing what Uma Musume was. Uma Musume. Now, the reason I'm learning Japanese is because I do want to go there. But, from what I've heard, there's people in Japan that are called Gaijin hunters. Now, Gaijin hunters, which basically means they're foreign hunters, they hunt specifically for guys that are foreign. Usually it's the women that are doing this, and they try to, get money out of them playfully in ways of like, oh, buy me this, buy me that, and they usually speak very good English, but they'll speak to other Gaijin hunters in Japanese. And the Japanese police will also take the word of a naturalized citizen over that of a tourist. Unless, of course, the tourist speaks Japanese and can defend himself. That's the other reason I want to go. So that I can avoid getting into that situation. Or as I say, the reason I want to learn Japanese, so I can avoid getting into that situation. I want to learn Japanese mostly for the fact of knowing it and being able to watch, anime, be able to read the signs and go see a lot of the live theater, go see a lot of you know, go take in a lot of the museums and the castles and all of the old stuff, and go out into the cultural, you know, old Japan. Go out into cultural Japan, rural Japan, where they don't often see, you know, tourists and foreigners. You go out into the rural Japan, and they're just like, yeah, they'll, you know, kind of shy away from you because you're, you know, a foreigner and they don't think you know Japanese. But when you know Japanese, that they'll take a shine to you, especially if it's proper Japanese. So I've been doing that, and it's, let me tell you, I went with the one method where they said learn the vocabulary first, and it's difficult. It's worth the hard work, and I've been trying to do that every day, at least a little bit a day. But it's tough. It's tough sledding. But at the same time, I've got 4,000 of the most commonly used Japanese words, and I'm plugging away at it.
Ormus may know something about this unusual blade.
Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna go get the. Should I go do it? Next video. We're gonna go see what magic ring does me no good. Ormus has this way of being like, ah, yes, here you go. Here's this magic ring. Listen.
You have done. This magic ring does me no good.
Let's see if it does me any favors. Ormus. Ormus. Buddy, come here. This ring doesn't do me any good either, bud. I mean, I want to be the bearer of bad news, but, ring kind of sucks. The ring kind of really sucks, Ormus. I mean, the half freeze duration is about the only thing that's worth. I mean, like, seriously, that's the only thing it's got on it that's worthwhile. It's a half freeze. It's not even worth that. God, I could gamble rings probably better than that. Matter of fact, you should probably do that. Just go gamble a ring. They're 65,000 per ring, but at least I think they're 65,000 per ring. Something along those lines. And it's lady up here, Ashira.
Good evening. Hello. Now that greetings.
No, she doesn't have it. Who is it? Is it Natalia? Natalia's got to be the gambler. I know that Alcor's not. I know Hrathi's the repairer. Or Hratley.
Greetings.
Nope, Natalia has nothing. Is Hratley literally the gambler too?
Yes.
No. Alcor? Is he an Alcorholic?
What can I do for you?
Oh, great. Oh, they're 42.5. Okay. Hey, that's better than the 14 I got. Boom. There used to be a trick that people used to do where it's got cold and fire resist. It's not that good though. The trick was you would give your money over to a lower level and have the lower level gamble for the rings because the rings were cheaper. And so this is why Blizzard made it so that all the rings are the same price no matter what. That way you'd be like, I'm gonna go gamble for this, and then lo and behold you get shafted anyway. I gambled away 800,000 in money. Gonna need to save money for my mercenary when he dies, but it is an hour-long video. How about that? And in the next one, I'm going to be going through the Flare dungeon and then maybe make a short video for there, finish up my But Will It Snipes, and then do some Pokemon battles. Not in one video, but just in a few videos. But anyway, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you stayed through it to the end. If you didn't, that's fine. It's fine. If you did, more power to you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. I enjoyed playing. And I enjoyed having my little jaunt. Whether, be it even about games, I still enjoyed it. I hope everybody has a fantastic evening, a wonderful tomorrow, and as always, have a good one.